Welcome back, everybody, to another Star Wars review, joined by one usual and one person who finally decided to make it to these, so...
Gosh. Jonah Morgan.
Logan.
And today we are going to be starting the sequel trilogy with The Force Awakens.
Indeed.
So
The best of the worst.
The best is the worst.
That is a perfect way to put it. But, so starting off with what we get like.
Kylo post-mask takeoff.
And that was the most disappointing face reveal I've ever seen.
That was my one thing with this movie is I'm a prequel person, as y'all probably figured out, but this movie I think is good. I think this movie is good, but he's much more, like, the thing with Vader was, when the movies first came out, he was masked, that's all you ever saw of him. You never saw his face walk, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But when he's and Kylo's mask looks really, really good, and
his outfit looks incredible.
And the voice is really filter they use is really good.
And then he takes off that mask and
he takes it off, and he looks like a
emo kid,
like one of the emo kids in high school.
But it's not
I love Adam Driver, but he doesn't have
his hair in this movie.
It's not very intimidating.
The main thing is the hair, I think. It's the fact that the hair is like curly. He looks like he has a perm.
This was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw in theaters. I saw the event showing with this guy, and I remember leaning over to him, and I'm just like, "This is the most disappointing face reveal I've ever seen."
And his eyes, he looks like his eyes are like almost like he's crying, like his eyes are shiny, and so it looks like a model.
He always
kind
looks
of
like
thing.
he's about to cry.
Yeah, he has like a model thing going on.
Yeah, it's true.
One other big thing. What were we about to say?
I was just saying, like, no, he's super intimidating throughout the entire beginning of the film, almost Vader-esque. Like he's terrifying.
Yeah,
really.
like if you look at it, the shape of his helmet, like the back of it kind of curves up like Vader's does.
Like every single scene, even after you first see his face, where he has the mask on, it still feels intimidating. But throughout the entire final act of the movie,
you know what's under it.
Right.
Yeah,
it a little bit.
He doesn't put it back on after he takes it off on the bridge.
I do think the temper tantrums are very laughable.
I think it's funny. It fits.
They're laughable.
It fits. But I think it fits.
It fits with his whole emo boy vibe, which I guess what they went for. But it is very laughable. I don't know if they intended for it to be.
He's also one of the more younger.
Yeah, he's like 20-something. So he's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, around there, yeah. One other big thing we gotta get out of the way, which this is going to apply to. This is to a lesser extent here, but still it's a thing in all three of these.
Bad things.
The fight choreography is terrible.
The fight choreography is very good.
This is. Okay.
Okay, let me rephrase that. It's not terrible in this film,
but I think overall, throughout the movie, or not throughout the movie really, but right off the bat, Rey kind of feels a little like some of her decisions she makes are a little uncharacteristic of how I feel like she would be.
Yes, yeah, the BB-8 one.
Right, the BB-8 thing. She's offered to sell BB-8, and she doesn't do it
for 60 portions.
For like months worth.
For like a month's worth of food. And she chooses not to do it, which feels really uncharacteristic.
Which does not make sense.
Because of how she acted before.
Right, for someone who has lived on their own for like their entire life.
But the decision she makes sense for a main character. But it doesn't make sense for her character.
Right. It makes sense for a main character who's someone who is...
I honestly didn't mind that, if only because like she sort of like wants to have this exterior of like, it's like, because she doesn't want to like have to worry about like looking after her, but then she like eventually like lets that like seep through and like
she could be a part of something bigger.
She is a protagonist, so she has to make that decision.
This is the best
that is what she has to do. But it just it always felt kind of uncharacteristic to me. But that's just a minor complaint, I guess.
Yeah.
Finn. What about Finn? What's the bad things about Finn? Yeah, we can go character by character if we want.
Okay, not
negatives.
This is a thing for later movies. So it starts in this movie, which you want.
He's very codependent.
Ray. Yeah, we're not going to say it as loud. But the first time he yells Ray, it's like you feel that, man.
It's from the depths of his soul.
It was good the first time.
Yeah. It's just the fact that it keeps happening.
It's funny. I think it's hilarious.
It's funny.
I think it's a running joke. I think they knew how many times he said it, and they kept doing it.
I put it in my notes, take a shot every time someone says back to Jakku.
Yes.
You're dead. You're dead in the first half of the movie.
Why does
You're
everyone
dead
want to go back to Jakku?
Alcohol poisoning very fast.
Poisoning.
I thought the Rathtar scene was like really long and not that great of a scene.
I like it. I didn't mind it.
The whole thing with them crawling around under them isn't good.
Color spectrum.
Yeah.
The whole thing with them crawling around under them, I don't like. But the rat,
it just felt long.
Tell that
and
to
I get
Magic Club.
Not enough Han. Give me
And
more Han.
I get it was supposed to be that. It was to add more Han, and it was to kind of throw in the like original feel of like Greedo and Han.
Greedo, yes.
I think that was kind of the vibe they were going for. Was the Han Solo's a smuggler thing?
Yeah.
What did you have anything else you didn't like?
Probably.
We'll talk about it. What'd you have? Well,
I had something that was like both a good thing and a bad thing. That's
I don't
the-
know.
like
Yeah,
a-
I have something like I don't know if you
Yeah,
call it
that's
a
what I'm
negative. But this movie is basically just A New Hope too.
That was the thing I was gonna say. That was what I was gonna say. Is there's so many references in this movie? It's kind of insane.
yeah.
It's
But
ridiculous.
that's exactly what me and Christian watched this video that Caden recommended us
Right.
a couple weeks ago, and
It was after we did Attack of the Clones.
it basically says that this movie J.J. Abrams was trying to make this a straight to the point, just
fan service for the
fan
original
service
trilogy.
because it's just a bigger Death Star. It's a bigger Death Star. It brings back Han. It brings back Leia. I love Leia. It brings back Chewie. Brings back the
everybody.
Millennium Falcon. And there's so many references, like
Yeah, I've got a few more
with them going like in the trenches, like at the Death Star
Right.
thing.
The
Yeah.
Death Star thing, Star Killer Base.
Star Killer, yeah. The crazy part is I forgot what I literally
Wasn't that the
forgot what it was
original
called.
name for Luke Skywalker? Was Luke Starkiller?
Yes,
And then they used it in
that's what I
Force
thought.
Unleashed.
and then
Right.
they use it in Force
Mhm.
Unleashed.
But
What else do I have here?
Hux.
I don't hate him.
Hux.
He's
That's
supposed.
what I was gonna. I
he's
was
supposed
reminding.
to
I
be-
forgot about
reminding-
him.
I don't mind him, but I was reminding Christian.
yeah,
I don't
thank
mind
you for reminding me that. I couldn't stand Hux in any three of these films. Even with this being my favorite of the trilogy.
Okay, wait, no.
I hate this.
I
I hate this
don't. I
character.
don't like him, but it's for a reason that is not in this movie. So I'm gonna wait.
I still.
Okay.
It's even just in this movie. I don't
Right.
like him. I hate him. But I hate him even more in each new one.
Daisy Ridley's acting is subpar.
Not great. Some of the
okay,
faces she
okay.
makes are weird.
Okay, some of her facial expressions.
Some of her facial expressions are weird, especially.
But I'm in a minority. I think she's.
She's
good.
fine. She's
I think
fine.
she's good.
She's passable.
I think as an actor, I think she's good.
Sure.
It's just the fact that some of the stuff surrounding her.
Phasma is wasted. Okay, continue. Let's go.
All right.
I found Edith glasses. Sorry, go ahead.
I think Phasma is wasted. We see more of her in the next movie, but Phasma I think is such a cool character.
Yeah.
She is.
She's just in barely any of it. She,
But let's talk about her good here because she's wasted in the next one.
Right.
Yes,
People said the same things about
it's
Darth
cool.
Maul, too.
It's cool.
And the same things about Boba Fett.
I pray to the deity.
It's just the
Way
fact that
back in the day.
it's the fact that yeah.
I like it because when is the last time we saw like a girl stormtrooper?
Never.
Never, exactly. And she's a captain.
Yeah.
And her armor is sick. She has that
yeah.
lance thing.
Again,
the
I've
pike.
said this before. Are we going to good things now?
Yeah, we're in the good.
Okay, we're in the good now. Because I think all of the characters in this movie, Phasma included, are set up so well.
Especially and even though the ones that are introduced, the ones that are introduced as well as the people that are brought back. Like Han is now a smuggler.
Han is one of the. We'll talk about him. Han is one of the best characters in this film because he's one of the best characters in Star Wars.
Because Harrison Ford is one of the greatest actors of all time.
Yeah,
Right.
he's
Harrison-
so funny.
Because if you looked at his dialogue, like if you looked at the script and you looked at his dialogue, you would think that it was from the original trilogy because he's acting like his old self.
But to be
which
fair,
is-
that's the case where it's fun because it's that same character.
no, it's the
So it
same.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's the same. He hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah, Han
No,
Because
hasn't.
because
Not even
over
a
the
little bit.
course of the original trilogy, you see him become less selfish, but now he's back to it. Yeah, Han and Leia both.
Leia is so good.
Leia, and she's not even in that much of the movie, but it's good.
But it's just
Right.
'cause she's
Yeah.
Leia, so she's.
And this is one of the first times you realize that it is revealed that she's like force sensitive. It takes a little bit in Leia for it to show, but whenever Han dies, she immediately like sit.
Which
has to sit- has to
actually
sit down.
they first hinted that in Return because
Right.
when she's like, no, Luke's not dead. I feel it.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
yeah.
And there was lots of moments
They
like
do
that.
they do
yeah.
say that, but it's
So just kind of summing this up, every single returning character in this movie is great.
I
From
like it.
Han to Leia to 3PO to even R2 for the little bit he's in here.
I used to
Chewie.
think that they
Yeah.
did Han kind of wrong in the fact that he was like he is.
His death hurt.
Yes, but I felt it was necessary.
No, I'm
It
saying
was
it
definitely
hurt.
necessary.
It just
was
hurts.
It
to
was
watch.
very
It
depressing.
hurts to watch. Yes.
Yes,
I've always had a problem with the fact that he kind of lets it happen. I feel like
there's really nothing.
he
can
knew
do.
going in that he probably was going to die.
Right.
But I think he sort of went in with the fact that he went to him.
He was
okay,
fine.
he was fine with dying if it meant there was
He wanted to reach his son,
if
yeah.
he meant that if him doing that gave him even a little chance of his hope of his son returning. I think that was the point.
It does give us the scene where Chewie just straight up just murks Kylo.
He totally could have killed him.
Oh, he could have. I don't think he wanted to. He didn't want to. Yeah, I agree with you. He didn't want to. It's a family thing.
And even all the new, well, we'll just run through them. I still, like you just said, BB-8.
BB-8. He's so good. He's so good.
BB-8 is the best new character this movie gets.
He's barely not as good as R2, but he's different. He's smaller. He's
so expressive because of how he's built.
The way they designed him, they're like, all right, what's going to sell the most plushies?
What's going to sell the most toys? You know that's a thought when Disney creates
100%. Because you're like this is something that they could like do RC.
Speak of that, what you said, because you still thinking about Disney. I love the Stormtrooper suits.
Really?
They're not the OG. Nothing will ever hold a candle to the OG.
No, they look like Donald Duck.
My mom made this comparison too because they could be seen as a comparison to Donald Duck, but I still really like
the original ones like Matt White. These are shiny. It's a different take, and I think it works well because like they're not the Empire, and they're like shiny. They're like really shiny.
They're not the Empire, but
I like.
No,
they're
not. They're not,
them.
but I still really like them.
Yeah.
They look more like clone helmets.
Yeah. Another thing, Poe. In this movie,
I wasn't the biggest Poe fan of the first time I watched it, but on a rewatch, I like him.
Even if he's not in half of this movie, he's so cool.
I do wish Poe got more screen time.
Oscar Isaac is a really
he's a great actor.
He's gonna make a lot of money coming up here in a couple of months.
Because he's in Moon Knight and he's gonna be in Into the Spider-Verse 2. But Poe was great. I like Finn in this movie.
All the characters are great.
I really like Finn.
There is not a bad. Never mind.
Hux
isn't great.
No, what you mean?
He's not great. He's not bad.
He's not Tarkin, but I mean he's not bad.
Yeah, he's no Tarkin. He's no Tarkin.
But anyways, Finn I think is a real good character. I like Rey too. I like how there's like this mystery.
Great.
Yeah, I like how there's this mystery set up. Just like she's like a nobody.
She's so British though.
Yeah, she's very British.
She's very British.
That's just something you don't question.
Yeah, you just kind of have to.
You don't question
it
because like you don't. But like. It shows through in every single one of her lines, and even the actor that plays Finn, John Boyega, is also really British, but he does a really good American accent.
Yeah, I mean I didn't even know until I like watched interviews after that movie came out.
And then the guy that plays Snoke, Andy Serkis, is British, isn't he?
Is he?
I think so.
Yes, and he does like he's a voice actor, so he does all kinds of stuff.
But he'll also be having that accent in the Batman.
Yeah, so the guy that plays Snoke is also most notably Gollum in Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So he's very
also the way they set up Snoke in this movie, I think was interesting because they did good. Like it was a hologram, but they made him feel like he could be intimidating.
You actually think up until you see him in Last Jedi, you might actually think that he's huge.
Yeah,
and I think that'd have been cool.
It would have been.
It'd been cool,
and it was cool. We were sticking to this movie, but in this movie, it was fine. It was cool. What else?
I'll say the whole thing with Hux and Kylo having like this rivalry thing when they're with Snoke is so
stupid.
It's kind of weird. They have like a sibling rivalry almost, and then Snoke is their dad almost.
Yeah,
it's like that.
That's interaction.
I don't like it. Because whenever after Kylo has interrogated Rey, he goes to see Snoke, and then Hux walks in and goes, Ren didn't think it necessary. He's like accusing him and trying to get in favor. He's trying to get in favor with Snoke. Kind of funny. I think it's weird.
I think all the ship combat, like the space combat,
that is one thing that the sequel trilogy does very well.
The visual effects.
Questionable stuff later.
I will not say not as good as the prequels. The prequel
Revenge of the
Sith especially is incredible.
But the visual effects and it makes sense because I'm
cinematography in this movie is insane.
Which it should be. They're working with a massive budget.
Because by this point, it is Disney.
We're even more concerned.
Right.
The music, they don't really. Besides. All the music is exactly the same from the previous movies except Kylo's theme, and his theme is really
Rey
good.
has an original theme.
She does. That's right.
Rey has an original theme.
But you hear the main Star Wars theme. You hear Leia. You hear Leia and Han's
The Resistance
theme.
has an original theme.
There's
a lot of original themes.
The one that you hear like the most is probably Kylo's.
Yeah,
and I like it.
Yeah, it's a great theme.
And it almost sounds like John Williams is trying to do a different take on the Imperial March, which I understand because he's trying to be like Vader.
Yeah.
But again, not as good. Which he wasn't trying to make it anywhere near as good.
Another thing, I really like the dynamic between pretty much all the characters, especially
Poe and Finn.
Poe and Finn dynamic.
They have such a
romance.
And Finn and BB-8, because Finn says that he does not understand what BB-8 says, but they still interact. BB-8 gives the thumbs up.
With like
that
a
is
what?
one of the funny. It's a lighter.
Yeah, a lighter.
That is one of the funniest moments in Star Wars history.
Yeah.
Back to the cinematography, the whole thing when you first meet Rey and when you're on Jakku and you see just the sheer magnitude of how big.
Maz. Maz
yeah.
is one of the best characters in this film.
Yeah.
And she's played by like a 20-something-year-old.
Yeah, right.
Which is weird. Yeah, she's played by, forgot how to say her name. She was the main character in Us, which y'all probably
And she was
Black Panther.
Nakia in Black Panther.
Black Panther love interest.
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maz is so funny. Maz acts like Yoda.
She's pretty much the Yoda.
She's the Yoda especially this movie. Because she said she's no Jedi, she's not Force sensitive, but she like can.
She has enough experience.
She might be a little bit Force sensitive because she like senses stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Because whenever Rey walks away from the table, she turns toward Han and said, "Who's the girl?" Because she knows that she's Force sensitive.
Yeah.
I think she can tell.
I think at least that I can think of. I have two more things. One's like we'll talk about at the end, leading into the ratings. But another thing I have is actually what else do you have? Because I actually lost it. Oh! The scene where Finn and that stormtrooper. That stormtrooper could have killed Palpatine.
Could have killed Palpatine. That stormtrooper was awesome.
That was awesome.
and I love that it's not like because like in this movie you're not gonna have as like you have one lightsaber duel, but it's not very long. In this movie you're not gonna have as many lightsaber duels, but like you have like a lightsaber and like a baton.
I don't know.
That's cool. The whole scene, the entire time they're on Takodana, I love it. It's so good. Takodana is where Maz's castle is.
Such a beautiful planet.
The castle is cool. It almost feels like a different like Mos Eisley Cantina kind of thing.
And that was kind of the thing.
That might have been
that was the thing.
That was the reference.
Not prequel because you see it.
Yeah.
But prequels where I still question how Anakin. I just said Anakin's like Luke's lightsaber ended up with Maz.
Is the last thing you want to talk about Luke?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to wait.
I question how the lightsaber eventually got to her, but
it's also such a big mystery because there's such a big gap in time. Because you don't, and if you're sticking in the movies, you don't know what happens to it.
One thing I would have changed about this movie, it would be in the vision instead of seeing Kylo Ren, she sees Vader, or like Anakin or something, because like it's his lightsaber. So if you saw, because you hear him breathing in the background, as soon as
you see Vader's broken mask. With Kylo talking to her.
Yeah, but in the vision you hear him breathing at like when she first touches it, but after that there's no other references to it, even though it's his lightsaber. But like
Do we want to go ahead and just?
That would just been cool.
Do we want to go half much anymore?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
So another thing, which was so cool to see, was the end of the movie where R2 wakes up and they get the path to. One other thing I didn't like, and that's mostly because of what this does to the rest. The dynamic between Finn and Rey, how it's set up here, and what. I'm gonna stick that in the good here because it's what happens in later movies. The dynamic between them, it's like you get this feeling that they could become a thing.
Because Rey kisses Finn on the forehead in the last scene.
The romantic subplot goes to crap in the sequels.
Every single one of the romantic subplots in these movies are bad.
But anyways, oh my gosh.
Except Han and Leia.
Yeah,
okay?
That's valid.
Yeah. But but at the end of the movie, it's a great scene because they go to the island. You see Luke, Mark Hamill, and you brought up something that would have made the scene.
Another thing I would have changed. Yes, if he had if the end of this movie, it's awkward how long she stands there holding that thing out. If he had force pulled it to him and then looked at it, and that's how it ends. That would have been so good.
That would have been such an awesome.
Because
it's already a cool scene.
If he had grabbed,
yeah.
But I understand. Yeah, I understand why they didn't do that because of what.
Because of what comes later.
Yeah. Well, you could have still done that.
That would have been so good.
They could have still pulled that.
That would have been so good.
But ratings.
Christian, you go first on this one.
Okay, so I am probably of the three of us, I probably like this movie the most out of us three because it was the first
This
one I
is the
saw.
first one you saw in theater.
And this first one I saw in theater, saw again
Right.
with this guy in the advance showing,
Did
which is what I really needed.
Did you
because
say this is the one you've seen some of the most?
I think this is the movie I've seen the most.
This is by far the first. None of us have seen
No,
a Star Wars movie in theaters
This
before.
is the first one I saw in theaters, but I haven't. But the one I watched the most is either Revenge or Phantom Menace.
But this really,
Right.
this also really helped me that week because when I watched it with you, my grandmother passed away 2 days beforehand.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you have an
It was a
emotional thing
moment,
with it.
yeah.
I completely
that was
understand.
not
Right.
that was not a good week for me, especially when I had the visitation that day
I
after.
completely understand that.
This really,
I completely understand it being an emotional thing. Yeah.
yeah, this
for sure.
this really helped me sort of like try to like
Right.
cope with that. Like
Yeah,
not
that doesn't
really.
mean
sure.
that doesn't mean like we'll agree with how high you rate it, but like we
For sure, yeah.
completely understand where you're
And
coming from.
I think the experience of seeing that movie in a theater was
In an advance
incredible.
showing.
Yes, definitely.
It was incredible. Like there's nothing else to say. It was an incredible experience going to see that movie in the theater with Star Wars fans from every generation, like people that are
old people,
older
like,
people, younger people, like
fans,
kids,
prequel
people who grew up with the like Clone Wars, like me, and it was
like us.
But yeah, it was just it's such a. It holds
It was
a
a
special
moment.
place in
It
my
was a
heart because
moment.
again, it was something I really needed that week.
for sure. It was for
And
sure a moment.
again, I still have a lot of fun watching this movie. Yes, I'll acknowledge its issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess you could say I kind of feel about this movie how he felt about the prequels before he changed my mind.
What do you mean?
But well, I mean, with the fact
oh
that
no, yeah.
you understand it has its flaws, but you still really like it.
Yeah.
So for Force Awakens, I'm probably gonna have to give this movie.
I have a number in my mind that I think
Yeah.
you're going to say, and I hope it's not above it.
I'm thinking an 8.5.
What?
I'm thinking because again, personal.
The number I had in my mind was 7.
No, I'm not gonna. Because again, I'm gonna stick to it. You know, I'm gonna bump it down. I'm gonna bump it down to an 8.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with an 8 because
That's the same exact thing that Caden said when we did.
no, because I was struggling
half.
between 8 and 8.5.
Because when I said 7.5, Caden went, whoa.
He gave Attack of the Clones an 8.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was
because
like,
I bumped down to
But
7.
again, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
cool.
stick with this film because again, it's just personal thing. I just enjoyed this.
Oh, you're going to hate when I give this anyways.
I mean, see, no, I don't because I already have a good idea of what you might give it. But
Okay.
again, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was still fun even to rewatch, and
But it's a you thing.
it's just
That's
such
not,
a because
Sure.
I understand.
You're not
It's-
saying it is a better movie than some of the others that have come.
No, absolutely not. But it's just to me, it was just I have more. This is one of the Star Wars movies I have the most
Emotional
fun
attachment.
watching. Yeah, because of that emotional attachment.
Sure, I have a lot of emotional
Sure,
attachment
for
to
sure,
this
for
movie.
sure.
And I'm just gonna have to. I stick with this as an 8. Is
That's
it
valid.
objectively an 8? No,
Maybe-
no.
maybe
No,
not.
at least you acknowledge that.
Because, but just subjectively, in
personal enjoyment?
my personal opinion, I give it
like
an 8.
it's like the same kind of thing as like we all our favorite is Revenge of the Sith, but I think in my opinion, Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars
Is
movie.
objectively the
Is
greatest
objectively the
I
best.
understand.
Yes.
But
It's just
now,
the
which
thing.
are you guys going to go next?
Story. You want to go down?
Because
I
I
know.
gotta go really soon.
So again, I'm a prequel person, and I don't enjoy this movie as much as some of the prequels. Now that might be a nostalgia thing, or just like, for me, there's too many. The references I love, but there's too many of them that are like just, hey, they're smacking it in your face. But I still enjoy much more than the two after. But I still enjoy
We'll
this
get
movie.
to
I
that.
think it's still good. I'm teetering between 6.5 and 7. I'm gonna say no, because I gave Phantom Menace a 7. I'm giving this a 6.5.
Okay, that's
I
understandable.
gave Phantom Menace a 7.
Really?
Yes.
That's understandable. I gave Phantom Menace a 6.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 7. I've had that number like in my mind like halfway
sure.
through the movie.
I peeked out of your notes that you had 7 out of 10.
No, I guess about halfway through, I told myself it was like 7 out of 10. Just it's
For sure.
It's a good movie. It has its
7 out of 10 is
flaws.
good, yeah.
It has its flaws, but just the amount of like nostalgia I got to the theater experience, going to see that
For
movie,
sure.
and it's a good memory. Seeing that movie
Yeah.
for the first time in the theater was
Absolutely.
a great memory. So I think that's enough for it to get a 7 in my book. That's what I give it.
Well,
What are we looking at next week, Christian?
so that's where we build The Force Awakens.
Next episode.
Next time, we are doing The Last Jedi.
That one will be at my house.
Kill me now!
We'll be back at my house for that one. Don't break any of my stuff, please.
You're asking way too much.
If you throw something at my TV, I will throw you out the window.
No, I won't. Okay. Also, I wanted to give a quick disclaimer because we haven't done this before. We're not gonna do Rogue One and Solo just because we want to try and get these reviews out before.
Like one person.
And we're just not gonna do them just because I kind of want to just go and get these out of the way because the Batman is coming up. Because
because Solo is just so meh.
Solo's meh and Rogue One, but
Rogue One is good though.
But yeah, so that's why we're like skipping Rogue One.
We want Batman.
Me want Batman.
But next time we are going to be doing my actual least favorite movie ever with Last Jedi.
Who knows? It could be the prequels again, and he
not
could
in
like
this
it.
case.
He could like it better.
Because the prequels I only watched like once or twice, depending on the movie.
Are you actually going to watch?
I've seen this one. I've seen Last Jedi about like 3 times.
I'm duct taping into the chair.
The first time I saw it with you, and we were like, that wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Then we rewatched it. Was like, oh, that was bad. Yeah, and then we watched it again. It got even worse. It's just gonna get even worse.
I'm gonna duct tape him to the couch.
I mean, I'm gonna have to sit through it for the review.
I'm duct taping him.
Anyway, so that'll probably be out later on this week because this will probably go up maybe tomorrow or the day after.
We'll record it on Tuesday.
Yeah, the Tuesday as of recording this, but I'm not looking forward to it. So that is going. Look forward to that rant. Even if you were not a Star Wars fan, you're good. Well, I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're watching them. But
I will be the voice, and Logan, you will be the voice of reason a little bit because you said you changed it a little bit.
I have a perspective on the movies.
We'll be the voices of reason, trying to tame.
I won't be much reason.
I'm titling that video a rant, and you're not stopping me. But anyways, that's gonna do it for our start into the sequel trilogy. It's only nothing. This is the only good thing about this trilogy. The other two are going to be terrible.
But the other two have good aspects to them.
Anyways, that's going to do it. Stay tuned for The Last Jedi. At least y'all will enjoy it. So,
maybe.
Maybe. I'm talking to them because I'll enjoy the rant. But anyways, that'll do it. Stay tuned for
content.
Last Jedi.
He's so dejected. You can hear it in his voice.
Baby.
You can hear it in his voice. He hates this.
Content.
I really do. See you later, webheads.